Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to my presentation here on the S&OP Vendor Day. My name is Bram de Smet, CEO from Solventure, and I want to use the time to explore a statement of William Shakespeare with you, being something is rotten in the state of Denmark. And what does that mean? Well, I hope to explore together with you what that means step by step. I hope many people are able to join online, and because we are online, I would like to try and make it a little bit interactive. So I would like to make use of Mentimeter. I have at least two questions to ask to you, the online audience. So thank you for either scanning the QR code and participating in the questions I will put online, or you can also just open your browser and enter menti.com. And if you go to menti.com, you need to use a code. The code for my poll here is shown here at the bottom of the slide, 1392 6095. So we'll give you another second. So thank you for either scanning the QR code or going to menti.com, and you can use the code 1392 6095. And okay, it's about selection of software for S&OP. But before we dig into S&OP or S&OP software, question to you, to your opinion, which percent of S&OP projects is delivered on time, is delivered on budget, is delivering the business case? And it's on a scale here of 0 to 10, and 0 would mean none of them is delivered on time, or none of them is delivered on budget, or none of them is delivering the business case. If you say 10, it would basically mean that all of them are delivered on time or on budget or delivering the business case. So how successful do we think, or do we believe we are in delivering S&OP and S&OP projects? We'll leave it open for one more minute, see some extra votes still coming in. So how successful are we in delivering S&OP? You can go to menti.com and use the code which is shown here at the top of the screen. So what do we say here? Around 1/3 of the project is delivered on time, around 1/3 is delivered on budget, and around half is delivering the business case. Let me skip back to the slides. This is the result of a LinkedIn poll. So in preparation of the S&OP Vendor Day, we asked the same question on LinkedIn. 59 people responded. Delivered on time, 1/3, which is quite comparable to the votes we just got. Delivered on budget, we are less optimistic here on LinkedIn, around 10%. Delivering the business case, comparable around 50%. So yeah, that's not necessarily looking very good. Yeah, if we don't deliver on time, I think it almost automatically has an impact on the budget, because when a project takes longer than anticipated, some of the project costs just keep running. So it's very hard to still be on budget when you're not delivering on time. And yeah, despite the fact that we are late and that we are out of the original budget when it comes to delivering the business benefits, we are more optimistic. We say 50%, but the least we will need to say is that the benefits will be delivered late. And if they are delivered late, also that might be impacting the business case. So when we look at these results, and that's where I also, as an OP expert, I get increasingly concerned. We've been talking about S&OP or IBP for the last 10 to 15 years. but it seems very hard to drive success in implementing S&OP. And okay, that is apparent from the simple poll we have done here, but also if you look into research, you find comparable findings elsewhere. This is an article from Harvard Business Review. What does it say? You can see it on the top left. A recent survey of directors, CEOs, and senior executives found that digital transformation risk is our number one concern. Yet 70% of all digital transformation initiatives do not reach their goal. And 70% is really huge, right? So yeah, let's see if we can explore why this is and what we are getting wrong. And that brings me to a next Mentimeter poll. So my question here to you is, again, if you go to menti.com, at the top you can see the code, so you can use the code 13926095. Where do you believe S&OP projects fail? And here you should be able to rank. So the primary reason, or the number one reason, is something that you would need to put on top. And okay, there's some work to do, because there are 8 things to rank here, so I'll give you some time. But if we are not successful in delivering S&OP projects on time, on budget, and on business case, yeah, where is the issue? What are we missing? So thank you for submitting your votes on what you believe are primary drivers for the lack of success. There's a bit more work to be done in this poll here, so I'll give it an extra minute. So what do you believe is at the top? So what's really the primary reason, and what are the things which are more at the bottom and are less impacting the the S&OP success, so to speak. Yeah? And so what we see here, what pops up at the top: management buy-in, change management from a people perspective, a clear organization. And what we see here at the bottom is tooling functionality and clear processes. So let me again switch back to the presentation. Well, this is the one. So we asked the same question again on LinkedIn in preparation of our session here today. Comparable conclusion. What's the primary reason? And we had to cluster them a bit for LinkedIn, but management buy-in is put here at number 1, and change management and capabilities is a strong number 2. We seem to be less concerned about the business case. I second that. I often say, if you compare an S&OP tool with an ERP tool, an ERP tool is costing a factor 10. Yeah? A new ERP is a factor 10 more expensive than a new S&OP tool. If you look at the business case, at the benefits, it's the other way around. Yeah? It's very hard to make a business case for an ERP system, because it might bring some extra transparency, but most probably we will be just migrating some of the stuff we are doing today to a more recent version of the current platform, or to a different platform. But it's hard to make a business case. It's very easy to make a business case for a planning system. Why? People who have heard me before know that I'm a fan of the supply chain triangle of service, cost, and cash, and S&OP is really at the heart of that triangle. So you have a direct impact on service improvement, so a direct impact on top line improvement. You have a direct impact on cost, so on cost savings, and you have a direct impact on inventories and reducing inventories and making more efficient use of assets. So the business case should not be the issue for an S&OP system. Still, I see that it's more easy to get a budget approved for an ERP than it seems to be easy to get a budget approved for an S&OP system. So I'm not sure I get that, but in theory, it should not be difficult, and we can help you there. Also, tooling functionality doesn't seem to be the hurdle. And I second that. We've been implementing S&OP tooling for 15 years. And technical issues can be very hard, but they are also very easy. If you run into technical issues, and you always do, it's a matter of bringing the right intelligence around the table, and then technical issues will get tackled and will get solved. The much harder issues are the people issues, and that's what we see also popping up here. It's about the management buy-in. It's about the change management, like how do we get sales on board, and how do we motivate salespeople to start doing forecasting? How do we create trust in the finance department that they don't need to make a separate forecast, that they can rely on the S&OP forecast as a starting point for their financial forecast and for their budget? It's a lot about change, about creating buy-in at the top of the organization, and about creating trust. And yeah, I agree that those are the more difficult issues. So if we fail, those are, I agree, primary reasons. Then, yeah, at the same time, yeah, how do we typically buy software? Well, we typically buy software by putting out a request for proposal. What do I see addressed in the request for proposals? I'm not going to put a new Mentimeter out, but what I see in an RFP is that there is a huge focus on the tooling functionality. Yeah, so we get very long lists with a lot of detailed tooling questions. Yeah. And if I may challenge, um, yeah, if you look at the different software solutions in the Magic Quadrant, and we are the reseller of the Archiva software here into Europe. Yeah, by how far are these systems doing comparable stuff, or by how far are they really different? I would say that most probably they are like 90 or 95% the same. Yeah, everybody's watching each other. So as soon as somebody is getting ahead, the others are trying to catch up. So I'm not sure we're making the best possible use of our RFP process. If you ask me, knowing what are the key issues in driving S&OP success, it's not the tool. Yeah, it's in all the other factors. So what should we address in RFPs is probably much more like how will we drive management buy-in? Yeah, how will we do change management? How will we build capabilities? And for me, RFP processes could focus much more on what is the experience and the expertise of the implementation partner, rather than just what is the tooling functionality. So what I would like to say is I would like to invite you, yeah, to take a better look at, okay, who will help us to drive this journey, because also it's not a project, it's a journey. When we get selected as a partner, we develop a relationship for 5 to 8 years. That's typically the horizon you at least spent together, and then there becomes a big acquisition, or things change. But it's a long-term journey, and a long-term journey is built on trust. Yeah? And yeah, if you want to build trust or look for trust, again, a typical RFP process, how it feels to me is more like this. Yeah. Not sure from where across Europe people are following this session here, but at least in Belgium we have a television program called Blind Date. How does it work? Yeah, there is a male or a female on the left, and then we have the opposite sex on the right. And for me, an RFP process is comparable. Like, we make a long list, typically, of tooling functionality that we require, and because every vendor or implementation partner needs to get the same information, it's very hard to get a connection or to get a trusted conversation. So it's like we build a big wall in between. And if in the end we finally get selected, yeah, then it's almost like you don't really know each other. So again, if you are selecting software, we need to think through if this is the best way to come to joint success. So we're happy to get your RFPs, but I would also like to encourage you to, for instance, talk to our customers. Um, I've seen RFPs with, I don't know, 100 questions, and those 100 questions then get answered in 50 pages. Well, instead of reading through 50 pages of information, I would I would encourage you not to talk to one or to two customers, but to talk to three, four, five customers, because those customers will tell you how a company like Solventure really helps with the feet on the ground when you are confronted with the key issues during the implementation. Yeah? And given the track record we started with, yeah, any S&OP project runs into key issues. So I would encourage you to spend much more time in checking references and talking to customers. It will also give you so much more information for the journey that you are about to start. I would invite you to do a workshop. Um, yeah, S&OP is really a specific expertise. I've been doing that for the last 15 to 20 years. So we have a lot of expertise on how to approach this and where this could go wrong. And yeah, because of the RFP processes, it's not always easy to get a connection, and we are not always as relaxed as we should be to just have a workshop, sit down together and say, okay, where are you today? And based on our experience and our understanding, what would be a realistic first step, and how could a longer term roadmap look like? And what are maybe the things that we would recommend you to do in the ERP system, and what are the things we would recommend you to do in an APS, in an advanced planning system? We have a lot of expertise which we quite often are even not able to share in a traditional process. So I would invite you to invite us to do a workshop, and yeah, allow us to jointly explore what are options for you to make steps on your S&OP journey. Also, instead of going for a big bang, like doing I've seen RFP processes where we invite 10 vendors and then we go from a long list to a short list. And then from the short list, we select one partner. It's also a very long process, and that type of processes easily takes a year. And the alternative approach is to run a pilot. We would be open to do that, and yeah, let's run a pilot and let's show the money. Let's prove to ourselves and to the organization that we can get to results quickly. And it's then also a method to fail fast or scale fast, right? So it's instead of a more traditional big bang and waterfall approach, this could be a more agile approach to which we are certainly open. So I would also invite you to talk to us about these type of options and opportunities. Yeah? And I think we have a lot of expertise which we would like to share, and which we also see as an asset in the S&OP projects we do. So lastly, I would encourage you to watch our webinars or to attend our accelerator days, which are like open trainings, or talk to us in our booth. We are physically available here today, but we are also have a virtual booth. You can also get a demo of the Archiva software there. I will show you how that looks like at one of the later slides. So yeah, if you want to get to an S&OP software, think through on what is important. And you need technology, but technology in itself will not do the trick. I think that's what we have learned of doing S&OP over the last 15 years with different companies. I started with on time, on budget, delivering the business case. So on time, 1/3, on budget, 1 out of 10, delivering the business case, 1 out of 2. Our ambition as Solventure is to go for the 100%. Yeah? and I or we have good reasons to do that. Why is that? Well, if we are not on time, we have budget discussions. I see it creates a huge stress and pressure on the project team, and on the project team on the customer side, the project team on our side. So it's no fun to work on a project which is not on time, on budget, and where the business case is under pressure. So I think that's an important reason to go for the 100%. And how do we want to go for that 100% or bring that 100%? Well, at Solventure, we've always followed an integrated approach. And so our ambition is to help you with the process, with the people, with the tools, and with the analytics. And people sometimes say process goes first. Yes, I agree. Process goes first, but you also need robust tooling. Yeah, many have tried with Excel, and as many have failed with Excel. If you want to get buy-in from salespeople into the forecasting process, it doesn't help to give them a cumbersome Excel file where they need to put in their data. So if you want to come to a sustainable impact, you do need professional tooling. We are the partner of Arqiva into Europe. Arqiva has been around for around 30 years. They've now been listed in the Gartner MQ, I think, for 5 to 6 years. So this is basically a very robust, excellent software, which you should take a look at if you are looking into S&OP software. But again, the tool in itself will not do the trick. So we want to help you to drive the change. Yeah? And what you will see here on the inner circle is we developed a 7-step methodology on how to drive that change, and it starts with awareness. You will need to educate your executive team on why they would need to do S&OP. And I often say, like, if you want to convince the executive team that they need to do S&OP, the best thing is not to talk about S&OP, because the moment you talk about S&OP, they will consider it to be a supply chain process, and sales will no longer be interested, and finance may no longer be interested. So when we talk to the executive team, we try to talk business language, not supply chain language. One of our key concepts is that supply chain triangle of service, cost, and cash. And better balancing that triangle is generating more value for the company. So we typically start with a workshop like, okay, what are the issues in the triangle in our company? Yeah? And once there is a common understanding of what the key issues are, then we can look into how S&OP can help us to solve those issues. We also look into strategy, like how do we want to stand out in the market? Yeah? Is it like a total solution? Is it more innovative products? Is it having the lowest price? Well, again, salespeople like to talk strategy. So talk about the strategy. And once the strategy is clear, then make the link to how planning processes will help the company to deliver that strategy. If you go for the total solution, then you will have a complex portfolio. Then you know your product management or product portfolio management will be key, right? So um, we really have the ambition to help companies and drive that overall change and integrate the people, the process, the tools, and the analytics, the analytical piece like the AI. Um, I'm not going to try to explain everything in detail, but again, if you go to our booth, let me first show that slide here. If you go to our online booth, you will see that we have a vision paper here on what is our vision on S&OP, what are the elements of S&OP, how does customer product segmentation link into demand or into inventory planning or into capacity planning. You will find a vision paper on our 7-step approach. Yeah? And I believe that integrated approach is really needed to get to better results. We have included some client cases. You will find some more information on the Arqiva tooling. We will be happy to give you a demo there. So visit us at the booth. And I think we still have like 5 minutes left for some questions. So I will stop sharing my screen here and just listen if there's any questions from any people in the audience, or whether there's any remarks from anybody in the audience. So I'm not sure. Yeah. Dave says here, I would also suggest is the fact that it is seen as a project, therefore will be ending sometime rather than a change of culture and lifestyle. Yeah. I agree, Dave. What it also triggers with me is coming from a technology implementation background. It's also like when the tool is live, we think that the job is done. No, when the tool is live, that's actually where it starts, because that's when we need to start driving the new process. That's when we need to start driving the benefits that we identified when we made the business case originally. So it's indeed not a just a project. It's much more a journey, and that's if we want to be successful, that's we need to take that broader perspective. Any other questions, remarks, suggestions from any of you? There is a Q&A box, so feel free to post questions. Also, any type of feedback would be helpful. Do you agree with what I've been saying? Would you disagree? Do you say, Bram, RFP is the way to go? Or maybe you say, no, we have to do an RFP to apply with certain purchasing procedures. So I'll wait some extra minutes for any of your comments or suggestions or questions. And if there would be no questions or suggestions, then I would like to thank you for being here basically during your lunch break. That's for the people, I think, like Dave calling in from the UK. So thank you. Feel free to visit our virtual booth. Feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn, and looking forward to continue the discussion with you offline outside of this session. So thank you all, and enjoy the rest of the day and of the program.
Thank you, Bram, for your presentation and participation on our S&OP vendor day. I hope people will visit you in the booth and maybe till. Oh, sorry, my mic is out. Sorry, my mic was out. I was on mute. Bram, very many thanks for your presentation and being one of our sponsors of the S&OP Vendor Day. I hope people will visit your booth. And I saw there was one chat from Dave Food. I didn't understand if you react on that.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Great. Thank you very much again, and hopefully till next time.
Thank you, Hugo. Thank you all.